Hi everyone, this is Sharon. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have been hunkered down in my craft room for a good month or more working on this project. This is a journal, a custom requested journal from Karen. And Karen always challenges me to make something unique and different. And this time she had thrown out the idea of making a Nutcracker themed journal. Her husband collects nutcrackers. And she also threw in, how about something with a slightly gothic theme to it? So I did my take on a slightly gothic theme for this journal as well. And so what I did for the outside is when I think of nutcrackers, I don't think of anything too feminine or frilly. They're more masculine in style. And so I, for the tie, use this ripped piece of linen. And then for the charms, I have had these vintage military lapel pins for quite some time, and I thought they were just the perfect thing to dangle off because when I think of a nutcracker, they're usually dressed in some type of military garb. So I'm just going to take this off. Now for the cover of this journal, I found this, I thought it was perfect for the theme of the journal. I think it was an old ledger, and it's got this most beautiful bluish gray fabric cover, and then it's got these dark chocolate brown leather trimmings on there. I added this plate on there with the nutcracker in there just to give a little kind of hint of what's to come on the inside. I didn't want to embellish it too much. The spine, I found some houndstooth wool fabric, and it has the exact colors in it as the cover, so that was quite fortunate, and I used that to make my own spine. The back is very similar to the front. Now, I had a viewer ask me to relay how many pages and signatures in my journals because she was always trying to figure that out as I was flipping through. So I will try to remember to share that information going forward in my flip throughs. So this particular journal is about 6.5 by 9.5 with a 3-inch spine. It has 7 signatures and 108 pages in it. It's stuffed pretty well with lots of ephemera. Heading on into the inside, I used quite a variety, again, a variety of digital kits. I will list the main ones that I've used. I used a lot of Nutcracker images throughout. For the inside covers, I went out to the public domain and found some sheet music related to the ballet. So I've got this for the front and then this one for the back. Now, as we go through this, you'll see I wanted to create, in addition to Nutcracker images, kind of a wintry, Christmassy, cozy feeling in this journal. So I've got winter scenes, I've got Christmas scenes, I've got gatherings around fireplaces. I've got a couple references to the Nutcracker ballet because that's what I always think of when someone says Nutcracker. And then I've included colors and some Gothic architectural elements to kind of give a nod to the Gothic feel of it. So a lot of these images will have some of the darker wintry jewel tone colors to them. Here I added this piece of linen to the top that I stamped. On this page, I've got a top tuck with this beautiful kind of embroidered lacy cut piece. And then this is the pattern underneath. And then I have included some nature elements too because I always like to do that. So here I've got this bird page from a book and then this other book page on the back that I punched and just attached with some washi tape. So I don't know if Karen will use this journal for writing, but I did provide some writing room here and there. Since nutcrackers seem to have originated in Germany, I've got a number of German book pages that I've included in here as well. And then on this page, I created this little tag. And on this side, I created this kind of floating envelope piece. And I just made this kind of lacy and festive to go with this ball scene. that I think looks like a Christmas ball to me. And then in here, I just added a couple of little Shabby hearts. On this page, I just added a cluster at the top with a wax seal and some velvet ribbon and paper. On this page, I've got this beautiful old ledger paper, and I just clipped to that a couple of full calling cards that I made. This one with the fabric running through it, and then this one. Here I created a couple of side tucks where I folded in the paper, and then I trimmed those up with some Florentine paper. And then I just left the pretty blue ledger paper underneath with the beautiful handwriting. And then I've got this antique postcard that I inserted, an old book page, kind of a signature that I used as a folder. And then in there I inserted this journal card with the sampler image. And then I backed it with some cheesecloth and just added a couple of little patches on there. And then on this side of the page, I tucked in this little card. I created a side tuck here and then added this image of the Nutcrackers. Here, beautiful winter scene. You'll see a lot of blues and greens in this journal. Nutcracker image. Here I attached this vellum envelope. I just printed that pretty floral on there. And then in there I tucked this kind of fun old vintagey adding machine tape. It's got some nice large numbers on there. I like that. This can be used as a writing spot. I think it's kind of a unique place to write some notes. And then on this side of the page I created this half round pocket. And that's backed with this image of an old document. And then in there I just have this little tag with the wreath on it. Here, this beautiful staircase. And then this Nutcracker page has this beautiful silvery blue background. And I just added this chiffon ruffle with a little bit of lace on there. Here on this page, the Nutcracker Ballet is based on an 1816 fairy tale. And so what I did was I went out to the public domain to find some images of that fairy tale book, and I included them on this piece. So this is a page from the book. This is the inside cover or the front fly sheet. And then this is one of the book pages in German. I just attached that on this side and then left it open on this side from extra writing room. And then the base of this piece is a vintage envelope. That's the back. And then for my shallow pocket, I just included this book spine of fairy tales. I thought that kind of went with the fairy tale theme. Here, this is a page from an antique French music book that I have. A little stamp on there. I really like that page. Here I created a side tab on the page, and then I just did some stenciling with paste on the top. I love this scene by the fireplace. It looks like a Christmas scene where they're maybe reading or singing. And then I've got this. I always like cookbook pages for kind of winter, cozy winter journals. So this has some soup recipes on it. And then this page, I absolutely love this scene. I bought this digital kit from the Paper Cameo just for this page. I think it's so pretty. And the name of this kit is called Sugar Plum Christmas, so I thought that was fitting. Some writing room on the back. Here I've got another book spine pocket and another piece that I put together from some pages of that 1816 German book. And the name of the book was called The Nutcracker and the Mouse King. And then on this side, I've just got some more pages and some tissue paper pieces I put in between, some writing room on the backs. On this page, I created this kind of almost like a door pull from this, it's kind of a flocked velvet ribbon. And at the end of that, I've got an acorn charm, which I thought is fitting for a Nutcracker themed journal. And then under there, I just tucked this old inventory tag. And for some reason, I was feeling mushrooms for this one, and I just love this image of the mushrooms. And then this is a page out of an old S&H or S&H stamp book. It says SA though, so I guess that's probably Super America. I don't know. And then on this page, I did some more stenciling. When I think of winter and Christmas, I think of beautiful tablescapes, and so I put this image there. And then I've got another, I've been hanging on to this for quite a while, but it's the title page of an 1800s cookbook. And I just love the fonts on there. And then I made this card, added a little bit of this pretty lace on there. And then I made a pocket from another corner of that. I think it was a handkerchief, but really pretty lace work on there. And then I tucked in this little French menu image. This is a digital from Jacqueline at Souvenir de la France, and this also came from her, so it's a French piece. Beautiful framed winter scene. I just added a little metal filigree piece on the top. And then over here, to do a little bit of nod to the Gothic, I did some Gothic architecture from an old book page that I have, and then did this corresponding punch to the edge. And then I just added a little stamping on the top. And the other side of that page. And then up here, I just added a little bit of some felt fabrics and a piece of old wallpaper. And then here I've got another felt tab with a little button on there. Here I took some old marbled paper and created these diagonal belly bands. And then that's what the back of the page looks like. And in there I tucked this tag that I made. This is a vellum tuck spot or belly band. I didn't put anything in it, but you could tuck something in there. And then this is just a beautiful winter scene that I printed on some tracing paper. Here for my page, I use this beautiful kind of a minty green lacy piece of linen. And then on this side, I just folded it over. I didn't want to cut these beautiful edges off, so I created this top tuck. And then in there, I've got this journaling card that I made of this winter scene. This is an old book page, like the front fly sheet. And then I also made this tag. So this flips up. And then this is actually attached to this glassine envelope. And then in there, I've got this image of the Nutcrackers. Here for my tab, I used a fabric yo-yo. Here I created a pocket. I love the wool plaid image in the back and this winter scene. And then I just got this French Laundry label on there. And then a couple pieces of ephemera, an old book page, and this check from, I think it's 1882. And then on my strings in the signature, I've added a couple of vintage buttons. Here in this top tuck, I've got this old book page I tucked in here, and then a couple of journaling cards, some architectural pieces that I love, and then just some graph paper on the back, embossed paper, and then this folder I made from these images. I love using architectural elements in my ephemera pieces. And then I just clipped that all together with one of these book clips. And I did do some attempting to rust them, and they got some really neat patina to them. Here I created a top tuck with this image of the crow, and then I did a little bit of blanket stitch along the bottom there. In there I tucked this really old document. I think it's from the 16 or 1700s. Some nice old script on there, and then here's the winter scene underneath. Love this cozy image of the fireplace. Over here on this side I've got another book page with some gothic architecture, and then in there I've got this little card that I made. And then this is a vintage French button card. And then for my pocket, I just added some nice old lace on there. Here on this Nutcracker image, I just added another little cluster to the top with some fabric, velvet ribbon, and a button. And then on this side of the page for my tuck, I've used this old tobacco pouch. I bought a cigar box and it was filled with all these old pouches in there that had been taken apart, and this one still had the old label on it. I thought that was really neat. I just adorned it with some lace, and then I added this hat pin to the side to keep it tucked down, and then that creates my tuck spot. And then in there I've got this card, some embossed paper on the back. Here I've got an Edith Holden book page. Then I created this side tuck. This lady looks like she's looking at the Christmas tree from her chair. And then I just added this lace belly band and an antique postcard with a nice winter scene on it. This paper, I've used several varieties of this paper. These come from Corky Anderson, and I will put a link to her shop. She's got several kits with these really pretty kind of scaled down, looks like vintage wallpaper images or something to that effect. She's got some quilting images. I just love using those for backgrounds. Here on this page, I've got this sort of, I don't know if it's tapestry or kind of embroidered fabric image. And then at the top, I've got this beautiful piece of gauzy kind of embroidered fabric that I used for my tuck. And in there, I tucked this piece that I made. So just in recent weeks, I saw Debbie from Kip's Corner do some paper weaving. And one of the techniques she showed was weaving in and out of piano paper with the pre-cut, slits in it. And I thought, wow, that is a novel idea. I love that. So I had to try it. I made this little booklet thing. I tied it up with twine, and then I just used some wool as my tab here on the side. And I'm going to, well, let's look at the inside first. So I've got some of this parchment paper lining, and then a few other papers in here that can be used for writing. On the very inside, I created some side tucks, and then I just have these cards in there of the Nutcrackers on some old book page. And then this one. And then if we pull this open, you can kind of see what I did. So this is piano paper. It's kind of a taupey color one that I have. And I just took some scrap strips of paper that I have and wove them in and out of those pre-cut slits that you see in music paper or a piano roll paper. And it's a little tedious because these are very delicate. I had to tape them in some spots. But I think it turned out pretty nicely, and I just added a few labels on there as well. Here I've got some old ledger paper that I printed on, and I just printed this beautiful bouquet image. And then in the center, again, I've got some of Corky's paper here that I used to line my pockets and some faux buttons. I left this open to flip down, so there's plenty of writing room in there, and that allowed me to insert this beautiful Christmas dinner scene. I just added some lace pieces to that. And then on the front, I've got, on the back side is this image of these vintage ornaments. And it's kind of like a page showing probably the inventory of all the different types of ornaments. And then I just stapled on some pieces that I made. This one. Here I created a lace belly band, and then in there I've got this French postcard of the winter scene, and then I have this piece of sheet music from a little booklet that I have, and it's got these beautiful brass sides to it where it was attached into the book, and this is called The Masquerader March. Here I adorned this Nutcracker's shoulders with a little bit of lace on each side. And then I just added some tickets to the top that could be used as a tuck spot. Here I created this belly band from a piece of velvet and just added this little kind of piece in the middle to make it look like a bowl. And then in there I've got this paper bundle. So I've got this little belt that I made with some Florentine paper, and then I wrapped it with this beautiful scene from Maria at J'adore la Papier. I love this kit from hers. And then I just backed that with a piece of book page from a Christmas book. And then I've just got some vintage letters that were dated around Christmas time, having to do with Christmas, and just tuck those in there as well. Another ballroom scene, and I just adorned the chandelier with a little bit of sequins. And then on this page I did a little bit of faint stenciling on there. This is some onion skin from 1900. On this page at the top I clipped on a couple of pieces that I made. I love this image of the girl in her winter outfit. And then this is kind of a vintage Christmas card image. And I just did some stenciling on the back of those. And then in this shallow pocket here, I just included an old invoice from 1895. Some beautiful script and handwriting on there. And then here I created this little tab with this lacy piece. I love the colors in this winter scene. And then over here I created a pocket with this old embroidery image, and then I just used some felted wool down here and some decorative stitching. And then in there I have this little piece that I made. It's kind of a folder from an old book page. I just basically folded it in fours to create some pockets, and then added some Christmas music to the front. And then I created some journaling cards to go inside. Some nice winter scenes. Another fireside Christmas image. On this page, I took an offcut from an old plaid shirt and just kind of followed the seam here to create my top tuck. And then in there, I'll just show you the page first because I love that image. And then I just added a little bit of lace to my strings. And then in there, I've got this beautiful old original menu from December 27th. So I'm thinking it was probably from a Christmas dinner. And then this is a page from an old 1800s, kind of like an accounting book. I think it was like a instructional booklet, but it's got some beautiful fonts and things on it. Here on this page, it's from an old French notebook. I just did stenciling on there. And then I clipped to that this glassine bag where I sandwiched in some rose petals. And then here I created this journaling card. I absolutely love this image of this girl. She reminds me of Clara from the Nutcracker Ballet, so that's why I used her. And then I just added some of this pretty lacy trim on there. And then I used an old file folder for this, and it naturally had this pocket to it. So I just add this little vellum piece in there. On this page, I took a winter scene and cut it diagonally into 4 pieces and created this corner tuck. And then in there, I have this French cabinet card, this nice dark background. And then I created this journaling card. It says Christmas morning. These 2 little girls. And this is some vintage wallpaper on the back. Here I used another fabric yo-yo for my tab. On this beautiful chandelier scene, I just added some old lace at the top. And then on this page in the pocket, I've got a couple of items that I made. I took these old images from a Christmas Carol book and did some image transfers. And then I took the transfers and just stitched them down to some old book page in the corners. But I continued my stitching and left the threads in between, so it just kind of creates this loose frame around the image. I like the way that looks with the gold thread. And then this one. And then I also clipped this journaling card to the page that I made. It says Hope, and it's got a little poem at the bottom. Here I folded this onion skin sheet to fit my journal, and then I did some stitching on it, and it just automatically, by folding it, created a little tuck spot in there. And so I added this journaling card that I made from a old Merry Christmas and Happy New Year postcard. On this page, I added this beautiful piece of delicate lace, and I set it up as a tuck spot, but I just really love the way it looks against this kind of manila colored page, so I didn't put anything behind it. And then on this page, I use this beautiful sari trim in traditional Christmas colors for my top tuck. And then in there, I've got this old piece of sheet music. And I just stitched into that this vintage image of the old ornaments. Another beautiful fireplace scene. Here I just added this doily to the page, kind of left it loose around the edges and did some stenciling on there. On this page, I've got this card that I made of the girl. She looks very mischievous in this winter scene. Here for my center pages, I took this, it's a French like embroidery pattern paper, and I just folded it up to make it fit. It's got some extra tucks in here that I punched along the edges, and then I've created these large pockets, and in there I tucked this piece that I made. This is what the background looks like. So I took 2 images that I found in the public domain. There's this one on this side of the dancers, and it says Boxing Day, 10 a.m., and it looks like they're stretching and getting ready to perform. I added some lace to the top, cut it in 4s, and then attached them all with this velvet ribbon. And then on the back side, it says Boxing Day 10 p.m. and it looks like they're on stage performing. So that's my nod to the Nutcracker ballet. Here on this page, it's got this beautiful pattern on the background, and then I tucked on to there this tag that I made, and some vintage ephemera pieces, a French ticket of some sort or receipt, and then this old invoice from 1910, I think it is. This page is my homage to sort of a gothic style Nutcracker. So we've got this gothic looking ballet outfit, tutu. And then on this side, I clipped on, well, on my clip, I've got some blingy beads. And then I've had this dangle hanging on my bulletin board for quite some time, but it's got a ballet dancer on there. And then it's got this string of pearls in the image, and I was able to find a vintage necklace with some pearls on it, so I added that, and just some old scrap pieces of lace and ribbon. And then I made this piece. So the back is a page from a vintage postcard album. And then I just backed that with some book page and Florentine paper. And then I created, with these eyelets on the side, these little kind of, I don't know what you call those fastener things, but I took some string and strung it around there to create this little thin belly band on there. And then on the back, I just reinforced with some pieces of felt. And then in there, I've got the ballerina shoes. And then this waxed piece, I just thought this is a beautiful image from Taylor Made Journals. And I just thought she could be the ballerina to wear that dress. And then I found this beautiful page. I'm going to forget the name of her. This is a freebie on her website. She's got a lot of these really pretty images. I'll link her in the description. I can't think of what the name of her channel is right now. Here I've got this top tuck with this lace piece, and this is some vintage wallpaper for my page. And then in there I made this journaling card. I've got a corner tuck spot. I just stitched down this winter scene. And then in that pocket I've got a couple of pieces from an old French magazine or newspaper of some sort. This is what it looks like. For the base of this, I used an old envelope and just added a label to the back. I stenciled this page with some stencil paste. And then here's another tablescape. Here I created a belly band with this piece of, it was from an old blanket. It's a wool blanket, and it's still got a little bit of the label on there yet, some of the fringe. So I just tacked that down. And then behind there, I've got another one of those French magazine advertising pieces. And then this is an old postcard. And then on my, get this clipped in here, on my belly band, I just put a couple of lacy charms on there. Here on this German book page, I've got this little piece that I made from this envelope image. And I just created a couple of little side tucks inside here and added some onion skin writing paper. Here on this Nutcracker page, I just took a little bit of tracing paper and just made a ruffle and added a little bit of trim on there. Here I've got another plaid page image, and I've got this linen pocket that I got from Rachel at Roxy Creations. And then I just added this fabric yo-yo on there for embellishment. And then in there, I made this tag. This is another beautiful image from Lorna at Tailor Made Journals. Kind of a lacy, gothic-y, grungy looking image. And I always like to add architecture where I can. And then I also inserted this ledger sheet, some nice handwriting on it, and some coffee dyed paper. Here I took this book page with some Gothic architecture on and used it as my page. And then in the center of the signature, I've got these beautiful kind of olivey velvet ribbons that I use for my belly bands and some lace scraps on the edges. And then I just backed these pages with some old dictionary page. And on my strings, I took some vintage stamps and added those. Now these two pieces in the center are a book plate that I found at an antique store. And it's quite large. I could never fit it into a journal in one piece. So I cut it in two to make these two pieces. It's got some beautiful fruit on there. And then I just kind of set these up as little folios. So I've got this nice Nutcracker guy on there with the corner tabs. I layered them up with some background paper and did some stamping on there. And then this is an old piece that I found in a ledger and some adding machine tape. And then on the inside of this one, I've got another Nutcracker and another sheet that I found in that ledger. Here I created a corner tuck with this vintage embroidery piece. It's got some really pretty lace along the edges. And then in there I created this tag, added some dotted ribbon to it. I love this wintry scene on this side. Get a wax seal, a little cluster at the top of that page. And then on this page, I created this item. Again, it's from an old envelope image. It's just added this paint strip on the bottom that I embossed. And then on the inside, I've got some side pockets. And in there, I just tucked some vintage pieces, so some tickets and an old playing card. This is a side tuck made from an old or a vintage woman's leather glove. And you wish you could feel this. It's the most buttery soft leather you have ever felt. And I've had these gloves for quite a while. And I was so inspired by Ina of Exquisitely Shabby. That's her channel on YouTube. She is one of my all-time favorite journal makers. I absolutely love her style. But she recently put out some videos on a journal she completed that is absolutely fabulous. I will link her channel too because I just think she makes the most wonderful journals. Anyway, she had something in her journal where she used, I think it was an old leather glove as well, and she had run it through her embossing machine. And so that's what I did, and I think it turned out really nicely. So I just took this piece and stitched it to the side of my page. And then in there, I tucked this kind of vintage table setting with the silver pieces on it, like the drapes in the background. And then I also have this embroidery page from an embroidery book. That's what the page looks like behind. And then I just kind of folded this over the page to this side as well. And for some reason, I just thought I had to end the book with this beautiful crown image. So I hope you enjoyed that flip through today. And Karen, I hope this is what you were looking for in your journal. I appreciate you all coming along with me today. And until next time, bye-bye.